Good evening and welcome to the live exchange. I am Dr. Pamela.
I'm Robert Pierce.
And today we are just really asking the question, what is really going on?
Yeah, what's happening? There's a lot
What
going on. Yeah.
There's a lot. And whether or not we have the capacity or the wherewithal to do something about it, it all begins with dialogue. So we're going to be talking about all of that today. We're going to be joined by a special guest, the newly appointed permanent president of Morris Brown College. Dr. Kevin James is going to be joining us today. And we are also going to be talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case, as well as just really all of this, issues, I guess, surrounding the coronaviruses, states opening, what's happening with states opening. I know Texas numbers went up in terms of coronavirus cases after the opening. So we've got a lot to cover. And Robert has a segment.
No, not this week. No,
okay. Well, but it's coming, y'all.
It's
so
coming,
keep watching.
You let the cat out the bag.
Yeah, but you know what? People have been waiting.
Yeah.
So, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yes. So we have some research that we're going to be looking at, including intersectionality. So yeah, I am a woman and I'm a Black woman and I'm a Christian woman. What does all of that mean in terms of how I'm handling this coronavirus and all the changes that are going on? Our identities really do make a difference. So we've got lots to discuss today.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a great show. Everyone tune in, share it, do it, call in, dial in, whatever you're going to do. Just come in, tune in, and let's go.
All right.
It's going to be fun.
So tell a friend, stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
Welcome back
to the live exchange. I'm Robert Pierce.
And I'm Dr. Pamela.
And today we are talking about, our topic today is what is going on. There's so much going on in this world. We just want to take some time and kind of unpack what's going on. And Dr. Pam, we have a guest today, don't we?
We do. We have a guest, and our guest is Dr. Kevin James. He is the newly minted president of Morris Brown College. And he's going to be helping us a little bit with this conversation, but also giving us an update on what's going on with Morris Brown and really how Morris Brown and maybe some of the other HBCUs are responding to, this virus and what, colleges have a lot of different things that they're trying. So it'll be interesting to hear what Morris Brown is trying to do.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I would think that our HBCUs are faced with some challenges, that some of the bigger universities can overcome pretty quickly. So I'm interested to hear with Dr. James. Yeah, just talking about it. So let's get him in here.
Right. Hello there.
Hello. Good evening. How's everybody?
Good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for asking.
Well, it's so great to have you. Congratulations on your new appointment as official president of Morris Brown College.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been a long 15 months.
Yeah, and I bet it has, because you've been working quite diligently to get Morris Brown back on track. So, what have you been doing the past 15 months? I know that's probably hard to say in a nutshell, but
wow, we've been doing so much. Really, I was hired to help to lead the institution to her full glory again, full restoration of the institution. And so that starts with us becoming accredited. When HBCUs lose their accreditation, they lose access to federal financial aid, and quite frankly, they can't survive. And so Morris Brown College, we will be the first institution to earn our accreditation back 20 years post losing it. So we're going to make some history there. And, people ask me all the time, how in the world is Morris Brown open? And we've been able to stay open since 1881. It's been a challenge, but, we're still here and we're still kicking and thriving.
I love it. So what does kicking and thriving look like? What milestones are you striving towards, right now at this moment?
Sure. Well, we're working on our accreditation. We've been working on that for the last 15 months. We are going to be done with our final audit next week. And as soon as that last audit is completed, we will officially submit our accreditation application, to a new accrediting agency for us, the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools. And the goal is hopefully this summer they're able to come down and they're going to vet what we said that we are in our application and in our self-study. And so our goal is to be a candidate for accreditation this fall, October of 2020. A lot has gone into doing that application, and it's really surrounded by three things: governance, financial stability, and our academics. And so we're really, really working to make sure that we're able to prove to the accrediting agency that we are an institution of quality. We always have been, and that we're going to continue to improve ourselves as much as we can.
Got it. Okay. So how has at all this coronavirus impacted this process as all? I mean, has it had any impact on what you all are trying to do?
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting because, we sent our kids home right when the coronavirus hit. All the AUC presidents, we came together and we had a task force and we had very deep discussion regarding what we were going to do and how we were going to handle the COVID-19. And so we made a collective decision that we were going to send our students home. And so we sent our kids home. Well, the week that we sent our kids home was our Founders Day week. And Founders Day is our largest fundraiser of the year. And so this year, it definitely impacted what we normally can raise, when folks come to Founders Day and give. And so it definitely has impacted our fundraising. Our kids are home, our employees are working from home. We're still pushing forward, but it definitely is a change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So as far as what HBCUs are doing, what Morris Brown is doing, I noted that there's a lot of colleges and universities that, for example, California has said we are not doing any face-to-face courses in the fall. Everything is going to be online from here on out. Now, I don't know how many other college systems are going to follow suit, but that's just one example of what kind of adjustments are being made. What do you know what's happening among some of the other HBCUs or what Morris Brown is doing?
Yes. Well, I don't know what the other AUC schools are going to do, but I made a determination, and I just presented this to my board 2 days ago, that Morris Brown College will be 100% online this fall. We're going to shoot for January 2021 and kind of go from there. Students are our top priority. We want to make sure that they're safe. And so we will be moving 100% to online, continuing with online learning for the fall.
I think that's really smart. And to me, it seems that there's a huge opportunity in this to become a premier online institution. I just read an article recently that said higher ed is really leaning in the direction, and because of this coronavirus, leaning in the direction to where those organizations that are online, virtual, are going to take over higher ed learning.
Yes. Online is booming right now. Just like we're having this interview like this. I mean, the technology is there for us to be able to get it done. And, schools for years have been using online learning, and this really just catapulted traditional model institutions to get on board.
Yeah, this is awesome. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Ahmaud Arbery case. And I know that you had some involvement with some activism with regards to that. So can't wait to hear what you have to say. Sure. But stay with us and we'll be talking trending topics when we come back.
We'll be back.
All right. So trending this week, among one of the things trending this week is just further developments in the case with Ahmaud Arbery and the young man who was tragically killed. Really in cold blood, murdered. Yeah. And, of the new developments, and it's silly to me because the new developments to me have nothing to do with what actually happened. And that being, there's new video of him possibly going into a house and whether or not it's him. And, apparently these are, this is what the defense is trying to focus on. But so the case, just continues to unfold. Dr. James, I know that you have, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago, a week ago, you took a trip down there. You are a motorcycle guy. Enthusiast, yes.
Oh, wow.
And so your club, was it your club or just, and you were all down there. So I'll let you tell it, but exactly what were you all doing down there?
Sure. Well, I am a motorcycle enthusiast, and my motorcycle club, we do a lot of community service. And one of the individuals from that area put out a call that he wanted all the bikers from the region to come down for us to do a protest regarding the murder. And I'm telling you, I mean, within 24 to 48 hours, it was somewhere between 500 and 1,000 of us on motorcycles down there. And we met with the family, presented them with some monies to help out. And we did a protest. And it was unbelievable, the number of people that showed up from Atlanta, South Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. And we rode down there. It was a 5-hour trip. I went down and had a great time, speaking up for justice.
Yeah. Wow. So how long did this, was like a day thing, or,
yes.
Was it, okay. And so the group of people that were down there, was there any other kind of, was there political, what were you asking for when you said you were protesting? What was there an ask, or was it just recognize that this is an issue?
It was recognition that we want justice, and we stand it in unity and solidarity. All the different motorcycle clubs came together. And again, we did have a balloon release for the family. We met with the family, made a presentation to them. The media was there, the news was there. And so we were able really just to bring visibility, that we stood in unity to bring light to a murder.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
When does this end?
I know. Right.
It's just happening too much. And I just hope this time that we can all rally together, black and white. It's going to take all of us to just say enough is enough, and find justice for this young man. I believe it was a senseless killing, and unfortunately, that wasn't the only one, going on in these past few weeks. So we just got to be prayerful and stay diligent, and something has to be done. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, this isn't the only one. We've seen several cases happen over the last couple of weeks, whether it was, led to death or led to just, trauma, which is bad enough. What is in the works, if anything, to address this? I mean, we've marched and I know we've said this and there may not be an answer. No. But we've marched and we've rallied and we've done a lot of things that I think are incredibly meaningful. But what's the next step? And Dr. James, I ask you this from the standpoint of, having been an active member or leader of 100 Black Men and understanding, what some of the challenges are, with regards to Black men in this society. I mean, is there anything brewing that, we can do?
Well, I think that the leadership must come together, like I mentioned, in solidarity and unity and make our voices heard. Marching is good.
And Dr. James, I asked you.
Yes. Go ahead.
No, I think that was just a glitch. Go ahead.
Yeah. Marching is good, but it's really not just about marching. We need to hit it politically. We need to make sure that we're going after the DAs that kept passing the case along. Yes. We need to make sure that we go after the system to make sure that there was nothing done incorrectly, right? And so we didn't just go and protest. We asked for specific things regarding investigation. Right. And again, we had the media there. I mean, it was media from all over there. And we made our voices heard, but we also had specific asks regarding investigating everything that's going on. And I think that once we come together in unity like that we're able to push things forward.
I think that's so important, and we do have people in positions of power in ways that we didn't have in the past. We've got lawyers, we've got DAs, we've got, people who are knowledgeable about this stuff, who are at the forefront of this, and so that's going to be really important as well. We have to know what's going on and get our hands in it.
Yeah. One thing that's very important to me, being the leader of a historically Black college, in the 60s, HBCUs were on the front lines when it came to social justice issues. And I would like to see more of that. And it's very important for me as the leader of the first and only Black college founded by Black people, that Morris Brown College, that we are on the front lines when it comes to social justice issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a little break. We're going to be back with Dr. James, the new president of Morris Brown. So glad to have him.
Thank you.
expect great things out of Morris Brown. My wife is a alumni of Morris Brown, so
wonderful.
Yeah, my roots there. But we'll be back with the live exchange. We'll be back, Dr. Pam.
All
We'll
right.
be back.
See you soon.
In the interest of science.
All right, so the science today is going to be the research of Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with her, but she is the one who coined the term intersectionality. And what intersectionality is looking at all of our different identities, our multiple identities, and understanding how that combination of identities creates a different experience for each of us. How is that relevant to what we're talking about? Well, if we think about how we perceive this case with Ahmaud Arbery, for example, or how we perceive this, the whole coronavirus thing, how does who we are as a person and the multiple identities that come with that impact our experience as we see Ahmaud Arbery? Am I a Black male? Those are two identities right there, Black and male. Am I gay or straight? Am I Christian? Am I Muslim? You know, what are the identities that come together that impact the lens that I see the world from? So that's essentially what Kimberly Crenshaw is saying. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is because we had a really interesting Twitter rant that happened by Candace Owens. Are you familiar with Candace Owens? I know Robert.
Yeah, I'm familiar with her.
Okay. So she's a conservative Black female. And so again, we've got three identities we're talking about here. And her perception of the Ahmaud Arbery case is very different from what we have been expressing here today. And so Candace Owens went on this Twitter rant. And essentially what she said in one of the tweets is Ahmaud Arbery was caught on camera breaking into an unfinished property that was owned by Larry English. His mother has confirmed that it's him in the video. Please stop with the quote, just a jogger BS narrative. Avid joggers don't wear khaki shorts and stop breaking into homes. And she just went on and on and on. And her tweets just got more and more and more visceral to the point where it was just, even the conservatives, you know, conservative Black people were just like, nah, we can't co-sign on that. We just can't. I'm curious to know, you know, from either one of you, when we have a Black woman who is expressing this kind of vitriol, I'll call it that. That'll be my opinion. How does it help? Does it damage the process, or do we just kind of disregard, you know, do people take that seriously? Does that have any mileage? Or is it just kind of like, she's just, you know, so extreme, it doesn't matter?
I think it definitely matters, but I personally believe that it's a show. I personally believe that she doesn't really always believe everything that she's saying, because she's positioning herself. I don't know if she wants to run for politics. I don't know what her purpose is, but I believe that a lot of it is for show, just to piss people off. Quite frankly, get people talking.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I was going to say. I believe it's a ploy just to keep your name relevant and you know, be on these various blogs and shows and all that. And we've seen this. She's not the first one, and she won't be the last one. Traditionally, through history, you can trace somehow someone will come in with these crazy thoughts, and you know, somehow they get a platform, and really we determine how long she gets her platform. Yes. If we don't react to her, she'll go away.
Yeah, this is true.
And the thing is, she gets to say whatever she wants. She has freedom of speech. She gets to say it, but we don't have to listen. And as long as we continue to listen, she's going to continue to speak.
You know, one thing that she said, if I could just add one more thing, is one more thing that she said that is 100% not true, is that he broke into the house. He did not break into the house. It was an unfinished home that had no doors. And interesting, just a week or two ago, I myself was looking inside a window of a construction home,
I
right?
do it all the time.
I do it all the time.
People do it all the time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, what if someone came up to me thinking that I was doing something, he may have been interested in buying the home. I don't know. But the point is, he did not break into the home. And I did some research on this. There were no signs saying do not trespass, do not come in. I mean, it's no door, right?
Well, the homeowner didn't even have a complaint about this. So it's, the whole idea that he broke into a house, so we need to chase after him. I mean, the two really have nothing to do with each other. It really is more of, we don't like Black people, so we had to chase after him.
And so you become judge, jury, and executioner. That shouldn't happen over that. Over anything on the street,
Exactly.
Yeah, when we see the corruption of how this case was handled, things swept under the rug, things not taken care of, it becomes very clear that this had nothing to do with the house. But, I guess any defense team is going to come up with whatever they need to come up with to try to make a case. But I'm shocked and appalled that it would have even gone this far.
Yeah. Well, the thing that bothers me the most about this entire situation is I truly believe that if we had not seen the video, meaning the world, if it had not gone viral, that those two gentlemen would, I don't even want to say their names, would not be in jail. Period.
Absolutely.
The only reason they were arrested is because this thing went viral.
Yes.
And that's the part that bothers me the most. But them being arrested is not enough. We have to get a conviction. And we want to make sure that we have the best folks going after them to make sure that happens.
Yeah. It just continues to highlight the systemic racism throughout the South and our country. It's embedded in our systems, and we keep seeing it. For this to be covered up like it wasn't, as Dr. James said, if it was not for a leak of a video. But we've seen before that leaks of videos does not mean convictions.
Yeah, true.
Right.
And so we have to stay diligent, and I really pray that justice can be served, because I don't know what it's going to take.
Yeah, enough is enough. Dr. James, this is a young man who quite possibly could have been among the age group of students at Morris Brown. He's a little bit older, but still. It's close enough for students on your campus to be personally impacted. There's a lot of things that have happened at the student age in Georgia this year. A young lady being murdered by friends, a shooting on another campus. So what do you tell young people who are trying to figure out life and they're seeing these kinds of things happening around them?
Well, I always want my kids to be knowledgeable of what's going on. I remember growing up, my mother would always tell me, watch the news. I never liked to watch the news. Watch the news and really know the issues and what's going on, so you can know how to handle yourself in certain situations. It's nothing wrong with turning up and having a good time, but you need to be knowledgeable and educate yourself regarding what is going on currently in the world. Be up and running regarding current events.
How do you answer the question that people often ask when we are all as a Black community upset that said, because another white person killed a Black person? How do you respond to the pushback that people even in our own community will say, well, we don't say anything about Black and Black crime, but we have an issue with racism? How do you respond to those kinds of critiques?
Well, it's apples and oranges. We're talking about two different things here, right? Yeah. Crime is going to happen. It's happened since the beginning of time, but we're talking about a purposeful going after someone because they were Black, right? Yeah. Call the police, let them handle it. Now, in the state of Georgia, just in full transparency, in the state of Georgia, if you've witnessed someone committing a crime, you can make a citizen's arrest. But in this particular case, that was not the case. And so, to suggest that, you shouldn't be mad about this because Black people kill each other every day, that is not a fair argument at all. Actually, it's ignorant.
It is ignorant. I would just add to that people who are in close quarters with each other, that's just they kill each other. It's not just Black, it's everybody who. Sure.
Absolutely.
So the other thing you just mentioned was about that law that's on the books in Georgia, and that need to be kind of erased. Do we still need that law on the books? This is the citizen's arrest it just seems like a dangerous thing to have.
I mean, we're in the
South. If I see those two guys shooting Ahmaud Arbery, am I going to now arrest them? I mean, is it really that fair of a law? Is it really that cut and dry that, okay, now I get to arrest them?
Well, legally you could, you witness them committing a crime, right? But, I think that's a whole nother conversation. You can that can be a slippery slope, as if, can you carry a gun into a store, or, open, carry, and all those kinds of things, so it's a slippery slope. But, in the state, the laws are the laws as of right now. You can make a citizen's arrest if you're witnessing someone commit a crime and they did not witness him committing any crime. Yeah.
I think the lens that I'm I guess seeing this all from, including the quote unquote black on black crime versus, an act of racism. I think the lens that I'm looking at is institutionalized racism, like what we see.
Absolutely.
And so when we have institutionalized racism, like you said, it's apples and oranges. We're talking about some maybe, equal footing kind of crimes happening versus the system is literally preventing justice from happening.
Yeah.
Completely apples. And that's why this law worries me, because we do have an issue with institutionalized racism, and within that system, how can that law exist in a fair way?
Right.
I don't know. So, okay. Well, we are gonna have to go to a break, but I wonder if I want to give Kevin a chance to give some final words, maybe after we come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we get you to come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for a while.
Okay. Just for a moment.
All
We'll
right.
be back here on the live exchange with Dr. Pam and Robert Pierce.
Welcome back. This is the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
And I'm Robert Pierce.
And today we have joining us Dr. Kevin James, president of Morris Brown College. I was going to combine a few different college names right there. Morris Brown College. It's a tongue twister
sometimes. Folks like to say Morehouse. No, it's
right. Morris Brown College. How does it feel to hear president without the interim in front?
Wow, it feels great. It's really overwhelming. I probably got like a billion phone calls yesterday congratulating me. But it's humbling experience, and I'm so excited.
Well, knowing the man that you are, you probably answered every one of those calls and accepted every one of those congrats.
I absolutely did.
Yes, you do your due diligence. You really do. And I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Dr. James, I have a question for you. Now that you're back and Morris Brown is coming on the rise, what's your message to high school seniors, juniors who are looking for, to take the next step to college? Why Morris Brown? We've heard some horror stories over the years, but
yes.
What would you say? Why Morris Brown? Why should I choose or send my child to Morris Brown now?
Sure. Well, the first thing is Morris Brown College is still an institution of quality. We are currently going through that litmus test right now to prove that. Our goal is to be a candidate for accreditation this October. So next year in 2021, we foresee being accredited, at least a candidate, and students will be eligible for federal financial aid. We will have proven that we're an institution of quality from everything A to Z, our finances, our student services, our fiscal stability, everything else. Students who come to Morris Brown in this next class will literally be a part of history. Again, first school in history to ever come back 20 years after losing its accreditation. They will be a part of the journey of full restoration of the institution. Now, another thing that I like to say a lot is that Morris Brown College, we're not just a college, we're a family. We have small classes right now. It's really not like a professor-student relationship. It's more like a mentor-mentee relationship, because you might be in a class right now of 5 to 10 people. That professor knows your name. That professor knows where you're from. That professor can really get to learn you and pour into you. And so, these are just a few examples of why Morris Brown will be a great fit for students. And we encourage them to keep their eyes open regarding our accreditation and to go to our website, morrisbrown.edu, and click on that apply button.
Awesome.
how do students, part of the HBCU experience is the HBCU experience, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
how do the HBCUs, because I hope many more of you all go online, how do you all maintain the HBCU experience while being online? Has that conversation been had?
We're delving into that, but we're going to make sure that we maintain our culture of an HBCU. Just because you're not in front of the person all the time does not mean that you still don't have all of those resources. So we're going to bring back the fraternities. We're going to bring back the band. We're going to bring back the student services and the homecomings and step shows and all those kind of things. And so we want to make sure that we stay close to our culture. And even though we right now don't have dorms or a cafeteria, we're going to make sure that the restoration of the institution still is that of an HBCU.
Okay, last thing before we go to break, because you got like 10 seconds, but is there anything that we can do from our end, from the outside, to support what you're doing?
Yes, please support Morris Brown College. The number one thing that we have to do to become a credit is to show that we're financially stable. So please go to morrisbrown.edu, click on that give button, and please help us out.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. James.
You, sir. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Thank you for having me tonight.
All right. We'll be back.
We'll be back. Welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Robert Pierce.
And I'm Dr. Pamela.
And we've been talking about, our topic today has been what's been going on these days with all in the news. Coronavirus. We had the Arbery shooting down in Brunswick. So many things going on. There was another shooting in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. We just had on the show the new president of Morris Brown College, Dr. Kevin James. A wonderful conversation with him. And so it's been a great conversation so far. Make sure that you share the broadcast with everyone. We want to hear from you. So let's hear a comment. Let's talk. What's going on these days?
Join us on the Sensation Station Network Facebook page. So the shooting that we saw in Louisville, is that the one that's also viral? And
yes, it's the young lady. I don't even want to say names because I don't want to mess it up. Yeah. But the Louisville Police Department was issuing a warrant. Unfortunately, they went into the wrong home, into a home of a essential worker. She was a first responder EMT worker. But when they went into the home, unfortunately, the police officers was met by some gunfire. There was some gentlemen in the house legally carrying guns in their home, nothing illegal, but gunfire ensued, and this young lady lost her life, only to find out that they was at the wrong home, 10 blocks away from the home that they were supposed to issue the warrant. Wow. And so, and Louisville police are saying, my bad, mistake.
And I would imagine that the response to police officers coming to your door is going to be one of defense. Like, what are y'all doing here? Like, what
Imagine you sitting home right now and police just busting your door.
Yeah. And what's sad is that I did not realize that's the case you were talking about, because I had another one in mind. Imagine that there's so many that's happening right now.
So many. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, that's awful. I mean, I am having a hard time. Like there was a point at which I said, I'm not going to watch any more of these videos. I'm just not. At the same time, we need these videos to come out because, as Dr. James said, there probably wouldn't have been an arrest had there not been a video.
Yeah, and I heard the argument, and I get it because I said it first, was why didn't he stop the tape and help? But had he stopped the tape and help, we would not see anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's also the question of whether or not he was involved.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so there's so much, and that's what I mean is the racism is so systemic now, especially in the South. We know, we live here, and classic case of cover up, and I'm sure it's not the only one down there.
Oh no, and I'm sure that the family members of other cases know that as well.
Absolutely,
but feel powerless in bringing it forth because we've got a system once again that makes it very difficult to do that.
Yeah,
you've got your life at stake. I mean, when these two men one of them was an investigator for the DA and worked with the police department and all of that. I mean, what is your recourse?
Yeah, what can
know?
you do? Nothing.
Yeah.
You pray for a video to come out that, there's no
And
justice in that.
of your loved one,
Right.
it's, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so I couldn't imagine the family members, the first one who saw that video,
right,
is like, whoa, look at this. That's
right.
not what they said happened.
And the mother said she couldn't even watch the video of who may or may not have been him going into the house. She couldn't even watch that. She said, I just can't. I can't bring myself to watch it. I can't imagine what it must be like to have a video of her son's murder on video. It's
unreal. I couldn't imagine it. And I just pray for justice, swift justice. And justice isn't just them going to jail, but justice would be some people getting fired because of this cover up and a total haul of the system down there.
We need to change the system. That's where justice is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's justice now, not going to jail.
Right. Oh, that's so good. I mean, and here's the other thing. I was watching a documentary today, and it was kind of, Black people fantasizing about how to be in a better world, a better situation. And one said, it'd be nice if we can get on our own planet, and there was no money system, there was no jail, and she listed all these things. It'd be great if there were no, but at the end of the day, there's still human nature.
Yeah.
And there's still, ego that goes awry at times. And that's really, I think, the root of the problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the core of us as human beings. And, what we've taken in, through the years, because some of this was taught, it's been taught over generations. And, until I'm at a loss because I'm kind of frustrated. I've been kind of distant because someone sent me an article about the aggressive policing taking place in my home, New York City. It's ridiculous with the NYPD, the posture they're taking in the Black and Hispanic communities, because people are out now, and some are not social distancing, but the posture they're taking is very disturbing, and it's a disparity between the African American and Latino communities and the Caucasian other ethnic groups. The posture of how they're even approached is different, and so it's really frustrating. They're killing my family up there.
But and if you consider what it is they are trying to prevent, they're actually creating more of that by the aggression that they're taking. We're trying to make you socially distance. It doesn't fit the crime.
Right.
The aggression doesn't fit the crime. And some of the things that I've seen is just absolutely atrocious. It's a matter of that human, I hate to just point it to human nature.
Yeah.
Because that's not an easy fix. How do you fix fix human nature? You can change laws and you can put people in jail, and for everybody you put in jail, you've got 20 other people who will do the same thing. So
absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. It's a thing because it's not just New York. It's probably any large city, any city.
LA is doing it too. Yeah.
Yeah, you're packed. People are packed in. We've been in the house for almost 2 months now, and so folk want to come out to get some air, just to breathe. But in New York City, in the projects, we don't have yards to sit in the backyard like I do here. And so you got to go to your front stoop. You got to go to your block instead. There's nowhere else to go. Yeah. But you're being approached aggressively. That's not helping the situation. And so it's just sad, and I'm frustrated. Yeah.
And I think that the way that I don't know how you're handling your frustration. The way that I've been handling my frustration is just kind of by turtling, just kind of going in and just taking care of me. And, of course, that feels incredibly selfish because, there's a world out there that needs us. But then how do we also take care of our mental health at the same time?
Absolutely.
Where's the balance?
Yeah. And I've been the same way. But like I said, these things just keep popping up. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in so long because
Mhm.
of my frustration and just being tired of so many things. But when you get the alerts or you scroll up your Facebook, Twitter page and you see it,
Yep.
and you see it once, you see it twice, you see it three times,
Mhm.
you're like, okay, what's going on? And then you click it and then you sucked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have any heart, any bit of compassion, it brings you in. And so I just try to stay diligent, prayerful, and again, like you said, to keep my mental straight because you know, I can't do anything with mad. Mad will do nothing in this house.
Yeah.
So I have to
Not
get
in the
rid of it
house.
quick.
It won't.
Yeah, it won't do nothing
Yeah.
here. So mad doesn't do me good. So, I
Yeah.
shake it off, watch something fun on TV or just hang out with the family.
Hmm. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate what Dr. James was saying in terms of, his club went down there to specifically push for this thing to be investigated correctly. And
Hmm.
if when we feel like we don't have a lot of influence or a lot that we can do, I think that's one thing we can do is get behind initiatives that say, make
Yeah,
sure we do this the right way, make sure
absolutely.
this is handled.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, it looks like we are at the top of the hour. So we'll go
Wow, that
ahead.
went quickly.
I know I did.
Hmm.
So we'll be back.
We'll
Stay
be
with
back.
us.
Live Exchange. Welcome back to the Live Exchange for the second hour. I'm Robert Pierce.
And I'm Dr. Pamela.
And we've been talking about today's topic has been what's been going on. In the first hour, we talked about the Aubrey murder down in Brunswick, Georgia. We had a special guest here today. We had Dr. Kevin James, the new president of Morris Brown College. And we had a great conversation just talking about how Morris Brown, they're on the rise again. So if you
Yeah.
have a junior or senior and looking for a HBCU experience, I would recommend that they consider Morris Brown again. They're working on their accreditation. They're working on getting things back in order. And we know there were some horror stories, but let's give them a second chance. They're
Yeah.
on the right track. They made some tremendous changes, and I'm excited for them, Dr. Pam. I don't know about
Yeah.
you.
Well, the
Yeah,
timing couldn't be better because now we're in a time frame where there's so many different technological advances in education, and so they can come back and they can come back strong if they
absolutely.
utilize those technological advances right. So I think there's a huge opportunity for them.
Yeah, and for so many years we've been hearing, HBCUs, they're going down, they're closing, and it's good to hear one story of, that one is coming back,
Right.
to be vibrant. The HBCU, I am a product of an HBCU, went to Delaware State, go Hornets,
Hey.
and that experience was invaluable to me, and I
I
would
did not
love
know
for,
that about you.
yeah, I went to Delaware
Okay.
State University, go Hornets. It was an amazing time. And my daughter went to Savannah State for a little while. That
That's
didn't
right.
work out, but you know what? We talk about it. It's amazing. Even though it didn't work out for her, she talks about her experience that she got at an HBCU. And in my mind, I'm like, mission accomplished.
There you go. Right.
She didn't get the degree there. She ended up moving on to another career and finishing, praise God. But
Yes.
from the conversations I heard about just how she learned about herself and about, African American history and just our
Mhm.
culture, I was like, wow, mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, that's great. And so you've got HBCU family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. That is
And,
great.
I had an uncle went to Bethune-Cookman. So, it's amazing that HBCU experience. I don't think there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And I just want them to thrive. And I'm excited. Like I said, my wife, she went there. Um,
Hmm.
what I didn't say was she was part of the mess up.
Mm.
And she got caught in there and her
Oh
financial aid
no.
was stolen. But I didn't want to go there
Yeah.
because that's in the past. But we move on, and we're excited about Morris Brown, and I look forward to them doing some great things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a huge opportunity. I think Dr.
Oh
James
yeah,
has a huge vision and he's adamant about pushing it forward. So yeah, those things of the past hopefully
yeah.
will remain in the past,
Hmm.
and look forward to a great future. So I'm all for
Absolutely.
it.
Oh
I'm all
yeah.
for it. So speaking of education, and you probably weren't watching because I'm into the real corny stuff, and I
Okay.
don't think you're really into the corny stuff like I am. But
No, let's put that out there. I'm not.
yeah, you probably didn't watch it, but CNN had a national graduation ceremony for all the students around the country.
No, I don't want to stop you, but I was watching the Ludacris Nelly battle instead of watching the graduation. So, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's some good competition,
but
though. I can't even knock you for that.
But that's the difference of you watching the corny graduation and I'm the cool kid watching the party.
So classic, right there.
Absolutely.
Well, the graduation was phenomenal. I bet though that the concert was phenomenal.
Yeah, we had a good time there. We danced, but I'm sure because I do believe President Barack Obama was the keynote. So I would have loved to watch it, but somebody had to lose. Sorry.
Well, they were both represented on this show.
Absolutely.
All right, we will be right back. All right, welcome back to the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
I'm Robert Pierce.
And today we are looking at what is really going on, because there's a lot going on. And
there's a lot going on.
We have a lot to say about it, although I think we've both been kind of like, let me not just really put too much energy into that, because it's just been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah, and I've really been trying to just focus on, and it's going to sound corny, but happy thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm almost like that. What was the movie? The Wiz. Remember the which? Don't bring me no bad news.
Yes.
And so that's how I really am. I look at my phone and people call me. And I'm like, I can't do the story now. I can't. It's just for me. I just want to laugh. I watch things on TV that make me laugh. Listen to a lot of music. I stay in my studio. I DJ.
What are you doing in your studio?
Oh, I done made some beats at a DJ.
Wow.
We had a good party Friday night here in the house while my daughter was coloring some wigs. She's a hairstylist. She does wigs. And so she was coloring wigs. And so I provided the music and we just had a good time.
Nice.
And it was just so refreshing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And that's what you got to do in your household. You got to create happiness, create positivity,
Yeah. And I was telling a friend of mine yesterday about it, and they were like, well, you should have posted it live, and everything isn't for everybody. For everybody. It was just a family moment, me, the wife, my daughter, and our dog. That's who it was for.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. You are absolutely right. Everything is not for everybody.
Yeah. And I hope everyone is finding ways to just stay sane, stay healthy, and have a good time. I've learned my house is not a prison. Oh, it's a resort now. You know what I mean? I realized why I pay the mortgage every month, so I've enjoyed it. And so,
Same here.
Yeah, I wanted to come out of this healthy, and I'm trying the best I can. And I just hope that our country can come out of this healthy.
Yeah. That's a good hope.
Yeah.
We will eventually.
Yeah.
I think one of the more positive pieces of news that has come out is that they are looking at a bill, a $1 billion bill for another stimulus check to, further provide assistance to people. Now, again, is it going to be sustainable? Probably not. People will probably get another $1,200 check is what we're looking at if it passes. But, there's something there. It at least tells me that the government has realized that what they did was not nearly enough to sustain people.
Absolutely.
And I think that part of the, all these protests that are happening with people who are angry because, everything's closed up and open things up. They've got all this anger. And I really think that anger is displaced. I mean, that anger is towards who? Because the stores are closed. I think it's really more about, businesses are hurting. People are going down because the government didn't provide adequate financial support, for businesses to be closed. That's who you need to be angry with. That's who you need to be protesting, not protesting to open everything up, but protesting to provide the provisions so that if we do
don't
need to
have to
stay
open
closed,
up.
we're okay. Right.
Right. Yeah. It just showed how oh Lord, I lost my thought. Oh, how dependent we are on economics to the point that they was just asking 2 weeks, and we as a country couldn't do it for 2 weeks because systems haven't been put in place to sustain us for 2 weeks. Imagine if we would have shut everything down for 2 weeks and the streets was empty for 2 weeks, where we would be.
Yeah.
But people
Yeah.
had to work, and I get it, and you know what I
I
mean.
get it too. And that's
Yeah,
why I say I get that you're mad, and it's okay to
yeah,
be
I get it.
mad. But I'm really going to need you to direct that anger in the right place. And that would be to the powers that be that did not provide the financial resources necessary. Anytime, and I love the Lakers, I'm a Lakers fan, but anytime the Lakers are the ones that get the Small Business Association funding,
Right.
and the small businesses don't get it. Like the Lakers gave that money back because they got the funding.
Right.
And then when they got the funding, they realized, oh, shoot, all these small businesses didn't get it. I commend them for giving it back.
Me too.
My
Yeah,
problem is with the system that even made it possible for them to apply.
absolutely. Yeah, and I always feared that when it first came out, it's like once the corporations grab up all that money, and the little guy is going to get nothing, and exactly what happened. Yeah.
How is that even possible that the big corporations were able to get an SBA, Small
Right.
Business Association loan? How did that even?
Because they was at the table when the whole system was set up, and they made that loophole that anybody, that the big guy's going to get their piece of the pie. A lot of folk, believe it or not, a lot of people making money now. I saw something. We're going to get ready to go to a break. But I'm going to say something when I come back. I saw something that I don't know is disturbing or not, but it just shows that there are winners and there are losers in this thing. So we'll be back here on the live exchange with Dr. Pam and Robert Pierce on the Sensation Station, and we'll be back with more talk. Welcome back to the live exchange. I'm Robert Pierce.
And I'm Dr. Pamela.
And Dr. Pam, what do you have for the research today? What's going on?
Well, so it's really interesting because OpenTable.com, I use them. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's you make reservations for restaurants and so forth.
Yes, I use them often.
Yes. So the president of that company released some research that they did that basically said that as a result of this coronavirus and shutting down and all of that, 20% of businesses are likely going to permanently shut down as a result. 20% of businesses likely to shut down. So a lot of restaurants. So a lot of the restaurants that we love that might be mom and pop restaurants, we might not see anymore. And it's really sad because those are kind of the best restaurants,
Absolutely.
They got their own, the chains are probably going to be fine, but yeah. So
yeah, it's the mom and pops that's going to hurt. And and I'm sorry, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say, so that's pretty much it. Just, the short and sweet, easy, but 20% of the restaurants that that they've, are slated to close permanently.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate. There's a couple of my mom and pop restaurants in my immediate neighborhood, and I believe they're hurting. One of them I went to the other day just to support, and you could just see it, the strain, how they were so appreciative that somebody would even come, it's tough. And unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of losers, but there's going to be a lot of winners too. And as I was saying before the break, saw an article that the owner of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, is on tap to be the first trillionaire ever in history. And it's direct result of the exponential growth of Amazon within this coronavirus. As you said, Dr. Pam, my family, that's, transparency, they could knock on my door a lot too. But there's clearly something happening, that there's winners and losers. And I don't think it's by accident when systems are set up that the LA Lakers can get a loan before a small business in our neighborhood, a small business loan they can get. You know what I mean?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And so that just says that there's a lot of money being exchanged that unfortunately a lot of us are going to lose, and it's going to be in our Black and brown communities. Some of it is our lack of knowledge. We don't know where to apply, when to apply, or who should apply.
It's about who you know.
But some of it is that when we're applying, we're being denied, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there's funds to be out there for anyone who's a business owner. Please do the research. There are funds that you can get. There are loans. There are loans that they're even forgiving up to $10,000 that you don't even have to pay back. And so if you are a business owner, please look into that. Whether you're a big or small business, don't diminish the size of your business.
Or how new it is.
Or how new it is. Please apply. The funds are available. The Bible says our people perish for lack of knowledge. And unfortunately, we're unknowledgeable. But we know when the new Jordans come out. We know,
there's a line for that. Even
we know
in this
in the coronavirus, right? Know, and I was on it, but we know when the latest battle is coming on Saturday nights. But we don't know how to get some money back and position ourselves so that we don't have to depend on people. That's the one thing. And I'll stop before I get on the rant.
Please do.
My one takeaway from this is like, okay, I have to reposition myself, and I'm coming out, praise God, fairly well in this so far. But I'm like, okay, I really have to position myself a little better, that I don't have to depend on stimulus checks. I don't have to depend on that I have the cushions and the systems set in place, internal systems that I can maintain. And I hope that others get that same message. Yes. Because unfortunately, a lot of people thought they were getting over the system, but only to find out that now it comes back to bite you because you're not eligible for certain programs because you backdoored them all these years and you thought you was being slick.
Ooh, that is big. You just told somebody's story.
Yeah.
You just told somebody's business.
I've seen fights on YouTube because on social media because people let others use their children, to get income tax checks years ago. So now when that $500 per child came up, now they want to fight because I want that money.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And you owe government money or something, you're back on your taxes or
you didn't pay your child support, all that. And now it's really coming to bite you. And so we have to be careful. It's very clear. There's a clear law in this earth. Whatever you reap, you will sow. Some call it karma, whatever it is. What goes around comes around. Right. And, we have to do right when it's in the good times so that when the bad times come, we're prepared and we can sustain and maintain.
And this is so evident of that now.
It's so evident. Yeah.
Yeah.
I promise myself and God, I won't get caught like this again.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this is a wake-up call. I wonder so my first response when you said that Bezos is probably the first trillionaire, my first response was to shake my head like, as if that's a shame, that's a bad thing. So I'm wondering, though, is it truly a bad thing? Because if I was the one that became the first trillionaire because my business just picked up because of this, and it did, and I have experienced a lot of, prosperity as a result. I mean, can we be mad at them? Can we,
No, he took advantage. He didn't break any laws. He took advantage of every law that was in this country, and he built a business that now is worth, over $1 trillion. I get it. You know what I mean? But I'm sure in getting there was some backroom deals.
Oh, yeah. All right. We got to go to break. Why would you say that right on the break? Because that's good. All right. We'll be back. All right. Welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
And I'm Robert Pierce.
And today we are talking about what is going on in the world and really just kind of giving our own take on it and how it's how we're dealing with it, how we're addressing it. So the last thing Robert said before we went to break is that we talked about Jeff Bezos, who's slated to be the first trillionaire.
Trillionaire, yeah.
I didn't even know we hadn't had a trillionaire yet, but I guess that's a lot of money. So
that's a lot of money.
Like, what do you do with all that money? What do you do with $1 billion? Like, what do you do? Like, what?
I would hope you would share.
Yeah, because you don't need it.
Right.
You don't need it.
Yeah,
right.
and so and that's when we right at the break you was saying, it's not a bad thing. No, make your money. You're doing everything legal so far that we know of.
That we know of.
And so, make your money. We're in a capitalist society. But my thing is, are you sharing? Are the employees who are the essential workers all of a sudden, delivery people are essential workers. I wonder how that got through.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a whole nother thing. But he went to see our president before all this went down to make sure that his business was going to be an essential worker business, and made that happen. But is it being trickled down to the people who are actually putting their lives on the line to deliver these packages of stuff that a lot of the stuff we really don't need? Let's keep it real.
Why are you talking about business?
No, and I'm talking 90% of the packages that come to my house are not necessities.
Look, I needed that T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The Lakers.
Right.
I needed it.
Yeah. Just like I needed that special ring selfie stick, with the light on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that. And I need that other thing, that rubber band holder that just looks so nice because it's Star Wars or something crazy that, that is prime and that I can get it the next day. And so, and I get it. We're all trying to cope here.
It's coping.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely.
I got a badminton set, so me and my daughter can play outside in the yard. I mean, do we need it? No, but coping.
Right. Absolutely. And so I'm making light of it. But my point is, I hope that, those who are doing well, it trickles down. We go back and help those who are struggling, because there are people really struggling. You know what I mean? There's food lines. There's a food shortage. People don't understand that. There's a lot of people that are not eating. Yeah. And
those lines are shocking. Of the line of cars of families, for even first-time families who are getting food, because food pantry, because they're struggling. There's no reason why we should be in this situation. The government should have taken care of this. How do you not anticipate so many people will be hungry and out of work and not getting paid?
Right. Yeah. And basic needs, food. We all have to eat. There should be food. There should have been surpluses of food. At our church, we give out food at our food pantry every week. The lines just get longer and longer and longer. I'm talking about hundreds of families that we're seeing. And you hate to turn people away, but you run out of food.
Right. Well, you know what? One initiative that the president just partnered, or just kind of, I don't know if he created the partnership. I'm sure he didn't initiate it. I'm just sure he didn't initiate this, but it should have happened a long time ago. But it's a partnership with farmers who've had to throw out food because now they're not getting orders from restaurants. And it's a partnership with farmers and food distribution, to help families who are hungry. And it's like, duh, like this should have happened 2 months ago.
Absolutely.
2 months worth of excess food. I watched something about a farmer who had to get rid of all the milk that they had for months, or for weeks, I'm sorry. And my gosh, how many people could have used that?
Absolutely. It blows my mind, and so that's my prayer, is that on the backside, that the small guy the one who, took all the rest during this, all these essential workers, that they're reciprocated in a tremendous way. I think if you have a student loan and you're in anything, you was an essential worker, student loan forgiven. Yeah. Especially in the medical field. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I did notice that my student loan company, and I didn't ask for it. So this is something that I guess probably isn't getting reported. But it was an automatic forbearance. It wasn't a forgiveness, but it was an automatic forbearance where I didn't even know. I was looking at my account like, how come my student loan payment didn't go through this month? Because it's an automatic payment. And I had to investigate, and I logged into my account and it said, oh yeah, you're automatically put on forbearance. They're just doing that for everybody right now, which is great. I think that's awesome. For people who definitely need it, because it's not a forgiveness though.
Right.
And there probably is interest. I don't know if there's interest being accumulated at this time, but that's something. It's something.
Absolutely. But imagine if they just said, okay, if you work in a hospital, any medical facility, we're forgetting your student loans.
Totally should be done without question. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Come on, that'll really bless some folk.
Yes.
Absolutely. I believe, this is my belief, we can wipe the whole slate clean and say, okay, everybody from this point on, you don't owe nothing. You know what I mean? We're starting from now.
Right.
And so,
I wonder that, who would it hurt? I don't know. It's a real question. Who would it hurt if that were to happen? Is there, are there people that wouldn't get paid if student loan money didn't come in? Where does that money land? Where does it sit? Who does it fund? Once I make my payment, I want to know where it goes.
Good question. It goes into a black hole. We don't know where it funds, right?
Yeah. It's something worth investigating. I might investigate that.
That's a good question. Where, where does it go? Wow, I'm interested to know that. But forgive it. I'm sorry if you hear anything in the background. My puppy is having a ball down here playing. But we'll be back shortly. We're going to come back with more discussion here. We're just talking about what's going on in the country and this world now with this COVID virus. And we'll be back here on the live exchange with Robert Pierce and Dr. Pam.
It will be very interesting. Welcome back to the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela.
And I'm Robert Pierce.
And we are talking about what is going on in the world. And among the last things that we were talking about was student loans and, what's going on with that. Where are those going? Is it beneficial? It wouldn't hurt anybody if somebody just said, just forgive them all. Forgive them all.
Yeah. We found the trillions of dollars to get the stimulus, and we're talking about another stimulus. We're finding money somehow.
Look, if we went to war, literal physical war, we would find the money for that. In my mind, we are at war right now.
We are at war, yeah. I found it funny that we couldn't find money to fix the water in Flint. There's a lot of stuff we couldn't find money for, but we find it when we need it, when we want it. Let me say it that way. We find it when we want it.
When it's beneficial to the powers that be
powers that be. Absolutely.
Right.
But the folk in Flint, they were poisoned.
And still are being poisoned.
And we can't fix pipes.
Yeah.
That gives people jobs. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's mind blowing. And yet not surprising. So one of the things my brother is a conspiracy theorist. I am a conspiracy theorist myself as well, but maybe not quite as much as he is. And he was, we were going back and forth a little bit, and he was saying, but you can't tell me that there's nobody that is intentionally benefited from what's happening from the virus. Like they didn't know ahead of time, and they didn't, put things in place to make sure they were good. And I said, what? I totally believe that. I don't know who they
absolutely.
are. Yeah. People are pointing at,
Jeff Bezos.
Right. Jeff Bezos, absolutely. Bill Gates has been warning us about a pandemic since, 2016, if not sooner than that. And so that was one of the people my brother was pointing out. Well, look, he's been, he positioned himself. I said, look, he's been warning us for years. It would be wise for him to position himself if he really believed that this was coming. And he's been shouting it from the rooftops. I mean, if I was him, I would have done the same thing.
Absolutely.
If nobody's going to listen, I'm going to position myself.
Yeah, had I known, I would have positioned myself. Let's be real. I would love for the headline to be Robert Pierce, miracle billionaire. Right? In the midst of COVID, that would have been great news, wouldn't it?
And why it would have been great news? Because Robert Pierce wouldn't have hoarded all that money to himself either.
Absolutely.
He's going to find a way to
share, to make sure everybody else is okay. Once you get it, give it back. But we'll be back after this brief break we're going to take, and we're going to come back and with the balance challenge. I believe we're going to come back with, but we'll be right back on the live exchange with Robert Pierce and Dr. Pam.
Keeping your balance with Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
All right, so today's balance challenge is, it's really connected to what we're talking about today. I just borrowed the balance challenge literally from the words that came out of Robert's mouth shortly ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is, if you are benefiting from this virus, from whatever is all, all that's going on, I want you to give back. Figure out how you can give back. Don't benefit in a vacuum. Don't do it, by yourself. Allow somebody else to benefit, because you're not benefiting for no reason other than to be able to bless somebody else. So find a way to do that. I don't mean give it all away, because obviously you'll need some for yourself, but find a way to bless somebody else. That's your challenge, plain and simple.
I accept that challenge. That's
I do too. I do too. So that's what I expect you all to do this week. Figure out how to give it back.
Share. Let's share.
Yes.
We'll be back.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Robert Pierce.
I'm Dr. Pamela.
And we've been talking about, our topic has been what's been going on in the world today. We've been talking about a lot of the new headlines, the tragedy down in Brunswick, Georgia, and Louisville, Kentucky, all that's going on with this COVID-19, and people just trying to do the best they can. There's been some winners, but there has definitely been some losers, and so that's what we've been talking about. We had a special guest today was Dr. Kevin James, who is the new president of Morris Brown College, and had a wonderful conversation. But Dr. Pam, before we go, we're almost coming to the close, and I just want to ask you a question. Have you been watching the documentary on the ESPN about the Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance?
Yes.
It's been an amazing documentary. There's been a lot of talk on social media and all that. I believe you grew up in that era too, right? Michael Jordan.
I did. That was my era. For basketball, that's when I used to loved basketball. I love it now, but not like I did then.
Yeah, it's been different. But for me, it's just been, you hear the argument about who's the GOAT and all that. This documentary locks it in for me. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And the reason being, and not just because of his play, but the mentality he put in his mind that every day I'm going to leave it all out there, no matter what he did. The same attitude he took on the basketball court, we found out he took gambling. You know what I mean? And it wasn't
He was consistent.
It was consistent over the board, and one thing he said that stuck to me, and it brought him to tears. He was like, "This is just how I played. You don't have to play like that." But that's how I play. And, I said to myself when I heard that, I wish I could have had that mentality. And just in my life, this is how I play. I go hard.
That's who I am. Right.
You know what I mean? Did anything stick out to you, watching it?
So I was a part of the whole Lakers-Bulls rivalry, that went on for a while. And I probably should be embarrassed to say this because I've always been a Lakers fan, but I have also always been a Michael Jordan fan. So during that rivalry, it was really hard for me because I love the Lakers, but I love Jordan. So while I had my Lakers jacket, I also had a University of North Carolina jacket that I was very proud of. That I used to do. Oh, this is white jacket with the light blue. I loved me some Michael Jordan. His story of this wasn't even covered in the documentary because I watched another documentary of him when I was in high school. I was a basketball player, so I was very much into players. He stretched himself. He used to stretch himself so that he can be taller. And I don't know if it actually worked, but he became taller. But that's how determined, when you talk about how determined this guy was, he was that determined that not only am I going to put my all on the court, but I'm going to figure out what I need to do.
I'm going to figure out to get an advantage at any cost. He always he keeps talking about I want to win at all cost. And all cost meant all cost to him.
Right, exactly. I think we're hearing some feedback.
I'm hearing you say stretched again.
right. Like, what's that? But I also appreciated how they would highlight certain players, like Scottie Pippen, for example. I love his humility and how he was just like, I know I'm number 2. Like, I know I'm the second runner. Like, I don't expect to be Michael Jordan. Like, that is the perfect sidekick to have. and they were the perfect combination for point
Absolutely.
second, and so I loved his humility. And then I love the story of Dennis Rodman, and just what he brought to the team. And so no, I think this series is done beautifully.
Yeah, it's amazing just the culture that was created, and the ultimate architect of the whole thing was Phil Jackson.
Yeah, I love Phil
You know
Jackson.
how he
I
can
still love
match
Phil Jackson.
personalities and all that, and so I just pulled out so many leadership
Mhm.
principles just from watching this.
Yeah.
Getting the right team doesn't mean you have the most talented players, but you have players who can fit into their role, accept their role, and work at their role. So when their number is called, they were ready. And time again, I just see there. How many times we have teams, and we feel we have to do everything, but
Yeah.
Michael had
Yeah.
to learn that trust your team, pass the ball.
So I
Go ahead.
can't resist. I have to correlate this to what's happening in the White House. Like I can't
Okay.
resist. Like
Come
so
on, yeah.
if Phil Jackson was our president, what he
Mhm.
would do is allow the person who specializes in whatever it is that we need to be at the forefront.
To
He
be
would
at the forefront.
encourage, they got to pass the ball. So Fauci's got to pass the ball to Dr. Birx when it's Dr. Birx,
Right.
and then you got to pass it to the media when the media has a primary role. And
Mhm.
everybody has a role that needs to be put at the forefront. And what we're seeing right now with the president right now is stifling everybody. Can you imagine if Phil Jackson was like, "This is all about me"?
Right.
Think about the players,
Absolutely.
about me.
Hmm. Yeah. The thing, the championship game against your Lakers. Well, when
Yeah.
Michael Jordan said, Phil Jackson said to him in the huddle, Michael, who's open? And he said, John Paxton. Like, well, pass Paxton the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They won a
Yeah.
championship. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
yeah, ta-da, President Trump, pass the ball. Who's open?
Pass the ball. Let the players play, first of all.
Yeah, let the real players play.
Yeah. We don't need
Yeah.
there's so many nuggets. You're right. There's so many nuggets from.
Yeah, and so I'm not just looking at this as basketball because I'm going down memory lane. I lived that. I was a New York Knicks fan, and I
Mhm.
couldn't stand Michael Jordan, what he did to my Knicks, but I loved him at the same time. And
That's
so
not
this
the
is
first I heard
bittersweet.
that.
Yeah, I couldn't stand him. Yeah, he made many nights rough for me in New York. But looking back now, I'm like, wow, all that it took for him to be this great, but the work ethic that they put in.
The key word there is that.
Yeah, they
Right.
said when they lost to the Detroit Pistons one year, the next day, they was back in the gym. The whole team was like, we're not taking a break this year because we're not losing against this team anymore.
Man. Ooh, if our government
Yeah,
can take that mentality,
absolutely.
I can't, like I said, I can't help it. I had to tie it in because it's
Yeah,
just
no,
so.
it fits so perfectly. Yeah, and I didn't want to leave this day without talking about it. Literally, it's in my face, and I'm sitting
Yeah,
there watching, and I'm like, wow, look at that, look at that, wow, look at that. You know what I mean?
it's a great series.
Yeah,
It's a great series. I'm ready to see the next one. Like, who are they going to feature next? Let's do this. Let's do
absolutely.
this.
Last one's tonight. When the show's over, I'm gonna get comfortable. I'll be in front of the TV watching it.
So, question:
Yes,
GOAT, Michael Jordan, right?
yes,
Not Kobe Bryant.
no.
Let's talk about comparison. Why Michael, not Kobe?
Because Kobe bowed down. Because Kobe said that if you put me and him together, I'm gonna pick Michael because there would be no me without Michael.
He did say that. He
Yeah,
did.
and the discussion then. If the man is bowing down, and no need to fight it.
I mean, but in some ways that's honorable, and I love that humility, which is so uncharacteristic of early Kobe.
No,
Like that
absolutely.
is so uncharacteristic of early Kobe. But
It goes into his drive because he was
it
built
does.
with the same DNA
It was.
that you study a man to the point that he emulated his game so much, and he admits it.
You're
You know what I
right.
mean? That you can almost look at Kobe and say, "Wow, that was a Michael Jordan move." I would watch games and be like, "He got that from Jordan. That turnaround move he got. He learned, some of the things he learned to read defenses. He got that from Michael Jordan. You could see it, and so
Yeah.
he, as great as he was." Mike is the GOAT.
No, I mean, he is. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. And and the GOAT, just because he's the GOAT, don't mean he got everything right. He has some shortcomings.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and
but that's what makes us human.
That is exactly what makes us human.
And we get to do that. So,
wow. Well, no, this is good. I can talk sports all day long. So
we should do a sports show soon.
Yes,
and just talk about sports and just argue about sports.
Yes.
I've never had an argument about sports with a woman. That would be first.
Yeah, because West Coast was where it's at when I was growing up. So Knicks.
No, actually, no. It was the East Coast. It was the East Coast. We were the Bruisers. You had to come to the East Coast to win the championship. The West Coast teams were bubblegum.
Ah, that's funny.
It was back in the 90s.
Tell me again what happened to the Knicks. Let's talk about that. What happened again?
Yeah, we lost a lot.
Right. I just wanted to clear that up.
We lost a lot. Michael Jordan.
Oh my goodness, I love it. But no, there are so many parallels though between sports and what's going on in the world. So we have done a show in the past. It really looked at we just need to do it again. We'll just bring it back. Yeah. So especially because if you look at it, they are trying to figure out what to do as well. The less contact sports are more willing to come back, but the more contact sports, they're trying to figure out how to do it. So maybe that's what we'll talk about next week.
Because let's talk about how we transition to coming out, because clearly it's over in the minds of our government. So we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
What does re-entering the world look like?
What does that look like? All right. Well, we are wrapping it up, and we are here every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. And if you are interested in, joining us for one of the shows, reach out to us and let us know. We might just let you on.
You never know.
You never know. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us on the live exchange every week here at Sunday 6 to 8, where we talk love, politics, and intellect. And remember, when we dialogue better,
you do better.
You do better. All right. Thank you.
Have a wonderful week.
Yes.